You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Perspective, the podcast. And we're here. We have an exciting topic, in my opinion. And like before every show, just to let you know, really the premise of this show is right there in the title. This is about different perspectives, different point of views. This is a safe place. We know it's going to be a little controversial at times because everybody has different lived experiences, different, opinions. But this is a safe place to share those. We feel that when that is done and sharing is provided, that people have the opportunity to expand their thoughts, consider different points of views, and then we're going to learn, and ultimately we feel like that will bring us closer together. So as we get started and go into this, our topic is right there in the banner. This is about communication, or effective communication, from a woman to a man, to be more specific. So we're going to get into that, and I'll allow my co-host to go ahead and if they have any comments they would like to share as we lead off and get started. That sounds like they don't have anything to share. So we'll get into it. Effective communication from a woman to a man. One, I believe it's men and women. I think the obvious thing is that men and women are different. So as we communicate, how we communicate, what we communicate, I think with men, it's more about what's communicated. That's really the key element. And with women, it tends to be about more how it's communicated, so to speak. So it's this battle between, I feel like, feeling and logic. There's several points that we'll get into as we go, but I'll definitely like to hear the opinions from, let's start with Doc. What are your thoughts on it?
I think that people think that they're better at communicating than they really are because they think communication is just talking. Communication is also listening, and I think that's where people struggle. But I think men don't listen. I think we hear it all.
Kilolo?
Now, on that, I agree somewhat. Because there's this guy that I'm talking to now, and I tell him all the time, I say, you listen way better than I do. Not saying that I don't listen, but sometimes I just don't even want to hear what you got to say. So I will check out almost immediately. And I'm not ashamed to admit it because I always think I'm right. I'm just being honest. I do. I always think I'm right, and I'm not going to argue with you. It's basically what I say, and that's it.
Is that effective?
It's effective if it works for me. It works for me. It's effective. So I listen, but I may make this face. You're like, oh, okay. You could be right. You could be totally right, and I will. Okay, yeah, you're right, but I won't admit you're right. I may tell you later, like in private or something, but never initially. So it works for me. It's effective.
It works for you.
Okay.
So
how's it working?
Sound like me and Key gonna get into it tonight because I don't know how.
Hey,
that sounds counterintuitive to effective communication. So let's talk about that, and we'll probably lean on Doc. Doc, how would you?
So maybe
how would you define effective communication?
Well, I think it's effective if it's working for her, but I don't know that it's effective working for the unit. Like it's working for you, but it's probably not working for both of them. Like you and the person you talking to, it ain't working for him.
Yeah,
I mean, he told me that he told me that it doesn't work for him. But I mean, okay, you know, I'm not trying to be rude. I promise. I promise. It's not my intent. But you know, like how people say, God knows my heart. You know, He know my heart. He know my.
yeah, but it's
you know what I'm saying? Like, okay,
it's
you
your
know.
mate that have to be with you though. So you'd want it to be mutually beneficial. I said, but it's you said God knows your heart, but it's your man that's with you. He needs to be comfortable and okay, correct?
No. I said, you know how we say God knows my heart. I say that about him. He know my heart. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He know my heart.
Yeah.
He know I'll admit it at some point. But, I mean,
now that's important.
You know,
that's
where's
important.
the excitement? Where's the excitement in a relationship? You know what I'm saying? If I don't buck the system.
Yeah.
You can't get excitement elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm not. Here, let me do this. I'm gonna put this out here. I think there are several what I would say don'ts, or I would recommend women not doing in communicating. Like I say never tell a man what he thinks. Never tell a man what to do. And to kind of elaborate on that, when I say don't tell him what to do, and definitely not tell him what another person or another man said to do or may even recommend it. Don't tell a man how to feel or how to behave.
And see, and I understand that. I don't do that now. I do believe there are some lines that shouldn't be crossed. Now that's why I said that it brings excitement to the relationship. But that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm difficult all the time. I'm difficult just to give him a hard time. But no, I would never tell, like you said, a man what to do, what somebody else says, or none of that. You know what I mean? So I know how far to go. I'm not crazy.
Okay,
I know how to hold on to it.
Because it did sound
But
a little
just,
like, whoa.
No, I know. But like I said, I know how to hold on to it. Now, like I said, I'm not crazy. But, you know, I do know when to back down. So, you know, and I listen sometimes, but, you know, not all the time.
And right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody just sent me a text message.
My partner, Mr. Jay Gilliard says, don't belittle a man either while trying to communicate.
Oh, never that. And that was part of like what I told him. I said, you know, even as far as like if we're in public and he do something that I don't like, I would never tell him in public. Now
we're
get in
united
private,
front
like,
in public.
Oh no, I would never front him out in public. Never. You don't do that to anybody. I wouldn't want anyone to do that to me.
Right.
So I always tell him, no, we wouldn't do that. So that's why I was like, I'm not going to argue with you. You know, I'm going to say what I say, and you'll say what you say. But as far as just going back and forth, all that foolishness, no, we don't do that.
Yeah, and I think
just walked in the house.
Hey, baby. I think effective communication has edification in it. It's going to edify. And I mean, I guess, and I think that can be done even in being silent at times. You know, there's a time and a place for everything. And so, you know, even in moments where a man could be mistaken or something didn't go the way that he planned or whatnot, still in that communication, you know, it can be done in a way that will not belittle him or tell him what he thinks, what somebody else said, even if it's right. I think the key word when it comes to women communicating with men, I think women are to influence, and so I think it's learning the nuances of how do you influence your man or a man in the process of communicating.
I think it's that too, but I think that when we talk about effective communication, I think some of the stuff gets lost. Like your tone, your body language, the setting, are you hungry? Like all those things matter. Because if we've been together all day and now I want to have a hard conversation, but now the football game done came on, you don't really want to talk. But same for me, if we've been together all day and now 2020, because I love true crime, come on, and you trying to like really talk to me about something deep, now I got an attitude and I can't even really hear you because the timing was off. So I think timing, tone, body language, all that plays a part into effective communication.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more on that one. Um, and even in those moments, even if you were to express, hey, this, I know your show is on, but this is really bothering me. I don't mean to interrupt the show, but I definitely want to have this conversation, to try to get back to a good place, so can we discuss this? And I think approaching it that way, you can have some compromise.
But if he don't mean it, if he don't mean to interrupt the show, then why he interrupting the show?
Well, he's explaining that he said,
Yeah, because wasn't it bothering him an hour ago, or was it just bothering him when my show came on?
oh, I mean, I guess I could look at that. I'm thinking like I was going off of your story of you just got home.
Right.
Now,
That's what I'm saying. Like, why would you wait to interrupt the show? You know what I'm saying?
No. Now we get into the details of when it happened, when he did. But I'm just saying, if
timing is important.
Say again.
Timing is important. If we have been together all day, we've been together all day. We done had lunch. We done went to Target. We done did whatever.
Oh no, we could have had that comment. Oh yeah,
like that's my
under those
point.
circumstances, I wouldn't understand that either. I'm thinking that maybe something happened while you were out. Y'all were having that, and then you got to the house. You sit down and watch, and they're like, "Listen, I need to get some closure on what we were discussing." I don't want to. I understand this is your show. That's the beautiful invention of DVRs. Hey, we're going to hit record on that. We need to, we need to conclude.
We need to handle this.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk about that. Alexis says, some of those don'ts need to be said, Pops. I'm sorry.
My girl.
No apologies necessary on that. But I would say you can say them if you want to, but then just be okay with the backlash that you get. So as a man, and the way that you have to think about the way that a man is wired, totally different. It's totally different. Now, what we talked about, like telling him what he thinks, what to do, how to feel, how to behave, or what another person said to do, especially if it's pertaining to his home, his relationship, and what he's managing. Not saying that you just can't ever address any of those things, but being effective in the way that you come around talking about those, or as I said before, being able to influence your man in that way, because rewarded behavior is always going to get repeated, especially if you give good advice, you've done it in a effective manner. Then of course you will become his top advisor, which I think anyone in a committed relationship, and the relationship itself is a quality one, then that's going to go back and forth. You're going to be each other's sounding board. You're going to be each other's advocate when it comes to that. Because it's almost a lot, if you have a leader, whether that's a spiritual leader or if it's, in a team setting, even within groups of friends, there's always someone who kind of steps out and becomes like everybody has a role, so to speak. Their strengths are in there. And then, being able to manage that. And that's going to be done with effective communication. But more specifically, when we're talking about a woman communicating to her husband or to her man, these are the things that you want to try to avoid, if you can. Sometimes it's not even saying nothing. It's writing down your concerns in a manner that he can take a look at them, which leads into let's say, with men, I would say, don't flood them with consistent negativity or constant complaining, or a glass half empty type of mentality. Just everything is bad, because I speaking personally, that's gonna wear on my soul, because men are automatically wired as problem solvers, and if you're bringing 15 problems every time we talk, that's gonna
What
be,
if it's 15 problems though?
if it's 15 problems.
I gotta just like suck it up and like hold one. Like I got
No,
to sprinkle the
but
problems out.
I mean, think about it. Can you solve 15? Have you ever solved all 15 problems at one time in life? Period.
So, like in life, probably not. But what I see in couples counseling a lot is that a lot of the 15 problems, it's really one to two things. It's
Oh, that's
money
that's
or
good.
it's communication. If
That
you solve that, the 15 things go away. I don't know that somebody got to sit and hold these my 15 issues. I'm just going to like sprinkle them out one at a time. Because then that person becomes miserable. They start having resentment. And now they treating you some kind of way.
Well, then I think that lends into, the person that's constantly complaining and has 15 problems probably needs to go see Doc and get that worked out and find out what the one or two problems really are. Then bring that back to the hut, and then we'll solve those one or two problems.
Okay. I just don't think it's like I just don't think it's fair that I have 15 different issues. First of all, I shouldn't have let 15 build up, because I'm a fan of
That's
resolve
true.
conflict daily. Like I'm not, if you step on my foot on Monday, I need to say something Monday, because I teach you how to treat me. And so if I let you step on my foot on Monday and I don't say anything, I say, well, it was an accident, whatever. Then Tuesday you step on my foot and I say, oh, well, it's an accident, whatever. Then Wednesday you step on my foot. Well, Thursday I'm finna cuss you out. And now I look like the psycho in the situation because I'm screaming because you stepped on my foot and you like, oh no, wait, hold on, this was an accident. But what should have happened was I should have said on Monday, ouch, this hurt me. Please don't step on my foot again. You know what I mean? So I don't think a person should give you 15 problems at one time, but I also don't think that person should let them build up. That's part of communication too. You can't be afraid to have conflict, resolve the conflict. I think sometimes people are like, no, we're in a groove. We're doing good. I'm not going to bring this up, but they put
Right.
it in the back pocket. It's in your back pocket. So it's like, it's coming back out. It didn't go away. It's still there.
Hey, Ravian, you're right. You're right, Doc. And I think that leads into, but that's about communication. I think maybe from a personal, like learning how to communicate, understanding that I call it, you got to go through the pain to heal the real pain. So there are things that may be going on. You need to address those so that you can get to a smooth place where both parties are, at ease, or feel like they're both heard. And if there are any issues, they can either be eradicated, addressed, or start working on eradicating or addressing them at the end of the day. As far as communication from a woman to a man, I would say asking a man for help, like asking a man for help or to do something for you, and then turn around and micromanage the process, or instruct him how to do the thing you asked him to do. I think you'll run into, unless he asks you, man.
But who does that?
Let him run that race. Go. What you say? What happened?
Who does that?
Who does what?
Right.
I said, who does that?
What part?
Who asks him to do something and then micromanages?
People do it all the time.
I wasn't. Yeah, like
I used to do it. Like if we're being transparent, I used to do it. Yeah. So I had to learn that if I asked you to do it, I have to accept how you did it so that it's done. So like prime example, folding towels in my house, it's a thing. It is a huge thing. And I really think that my daughter like folds them real ugly. So I'll say, just let me do it. I learned. It don't matter if they don't look how I want them to look. They done it. It's something that's off my plate. So people do ask you to do something, and then they want you to do it how they would have done it. So that's a thing.
Oh, okay. Maybe I've been single too long. I don't know. And then like when I was married, and I would ask him to like mow the lawn or something, and if he didn't do it, now I don't know if this is a form of micromanaging. I would just go do it because he would come up with all kinds of excuses. I'm allergic to the bees. I'm allergic to wasps. I'm allergic to grass. So it's like I didn't even ask. I asked one time, and then if you didn't do it the one time I asked you, I just go do it myself. Even with getting the oil changed or taking the car to get the inspection done, I just did it myself. So
okay,
I don't know.
So what was the response? What was his response to you doing that?
Oh, he just laid his ass in the bed. I mean, he just laid in the bed and didn't do nothing. He didn't care. I mean,
he let you.
It got done. Yeah.
But you had asked him though, right? Right.
I asked him initially, and then if he didn't do it, I'll just go do it. And I'm like that today. You know, like if I ask my daughter to take out the trash and she don't do it, I just go do it myself. You know, like instead of just having you to do one thing, I just do it myself.
And then you're okay. You don't even.
Well, she said when she used to be married, so maybe she wasn't okay.
So that's what I'm asking her. So
now I'm still okay.
So this is what. So y'all clarify this for me. I'm thinking if a woman has asked her man, "Hey, you know, babe, I got a group coming by the house this weekend. You know, can you cut the yard? Make sure the yard is nice. You know, before company comes or before everybody comes. Let's say that's on a Saturday. You ask the event is on Saturday, and you've asked him to do this like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Friday comes, he hasn't done it yet. And then so you see it's not done, and you get up, you go get the lawnmower, and you cut the grass. He sees and knows that you've cut the grass, and he never acknowledged it, never said anything like, he just, as I'm gonna use Keisha's example, he just laid up in the bed and was cool with it. You're telling, and so you're telling me, I just don't think any woman would be like, well, it got done and I'm good. And I don't care that I asked my man to do something and he didn't do it. And I end up having to do it. I would think
like Tori just said, I used to be married.
Okay, so
I mean, why go back and forth with you if I'm asking you to do something and you won't do it? You know what I mean? You know, there's no need. I'm wasting my time. You know, there's time and breath I can't get back. So if I ask you to do it and you won't do it, or you say, like I said, he told me he was allergic to the bumblebees, he was allergic to the grass, but you out there, want to play football in the grass with the homies. You weren't allergic then. You weren't scratching and itching then. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well, yeah. So ultimately,
something's not right.
So ultimately, that built resentment up in you, and that's why he's no longer your husband.
Yeah, because nobody wants to. You the head of the house. I asked you to do something for the house, and you didn't do it.
Right.
But you want to walk around here like,
Yeah, Lexi says, yeah, she guilty of that too.
And that was
and I'm just going to get to some of the.
To go back to a previous show, and I'm sorry, and then to go back to a previous show, we were talking about the word king. That's why I was like, I had so many questions. I'm like, okay, like what do they have to do? Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. As to why, why would I refer to you as a king? If what do you have to do in order for me to refer to you as a king? You know what I mean? That's why I had so many questions back, on that show. But that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about this some other time. But you said you wanted to get onto some comments. We'll go to comments.
Yeah, I was just going to. Queen 3 and King podcast. What up? All right. What up? Mr. Jeb Gear, he said what up to Queen 3 and King. He said, I think that builds some type of resentment.
Agreed.
That's
why she said she used to be married.
Hell no. Ain't no woman gonna be okay with that, correct? End of the bench media says, hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you for joining. And Alexis says, definitely would not be okay with that. So I think that's a consensus. With that being said, so when we're talking about a woman communicating effectively to a man, so if that's let's use that as an example. If something like that occurred, what would the ladies on the panel? What would my co-host? What would you say is an effective way to address that with him? So that's a problem. If that's something that can be communicated, what would be an effective way to communicate that to him of how you feel about that?
You got to bring it to him. You got to say, hey, babe, I asked you to mow the grass. I went ahead and did it this time, but was there a different way you wanted me to ask? Should I have given you 2 weeks? Like, what prevented you from doing it for me? I think you have to ask that question and then move around. Like, you got to figure it out from there. Because then he can say, well, when you asked me, I was doing blah, 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 and I didn't know, or I didn't hear you. Like, he can tell you what happened. And then you get to discern if it was something that you can tolerate or if it's something that you couldn't tolerate.
I think that's effective.
I agree. I agree with what Toya said. Because I mean, like Miss Gilliard said, or what y'all was saying as well, it does build a resentment, because I found myself like doing all kind of stuff. Like I would be like standing outside the shower. Sometimes he'd be in there taking the shower, and I'd be standing outside the curtain. And then when he would open the curtain, he'd be screaming. Like I would find stuff like that funny because I was pissed. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I was scaring him on purpose. And then a few times he would come in late because that wasn't the only thing that he was doing, wasn't doing right. He would come in late and I would hit the switches on the breaker box and just stand like behind this door. And then when he would go flip the lights on, he couldn't get the lights on there. But as soon as he hit that switch and turned the switch back on, I'd be standing there just looking at him, and that fool would just lose it. Like it would be hilarious because I'm like, your punk ass ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. Excuse my mouth, but you wouldn't do what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm gonna make life real, hellified for you right now, my G. So I just, I didn't even care no more. I would go sleep with my hand on the mattress. He would think I had a knife under there or something, but like I would just be doing all kind of crazy stuff. So that's why I'm like, the Lord had to like deliver me and stuff because like I'm like, I don't know if I ever want to get married again. Cause honey, you don't, I know it's a double negative, but don't not do what I asked you to do. And then when you don't do it, don't start bringing other bull crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you effectively communicate with some dude that's just playing you? You know what I'm saying? You done tried. Okay, honey, I don't like when you do that. I don't like when you do that, baby. Okay, I'm saying I'm not gonna do that no more. Okay, cool. 3 days later, you do the same old crap. Okay, maybe he forgot. Sugar, you go from honey to sugar. Now, come on, baby. I'm trying to stick this out with you, boo. But then you turn around and do the same old crap, then boom. Now I done went into cuckoo mode. Now I'm gonna scare the hell out of it because now you think I'm a punk. So I gotta show you I'm a punk. So like, how do you effectively communicate with somebody that's treating you, that just want to constantly, mess over? I don't see that.
Yeah,
so I don't know. Maybe
I'll say this, Keisha. I don't know how you, because of course there are some nuances in there,
right?
But effective. Well, let me read this comment first. I think that's Doc, if I'm not mistaken. He said, "Let's be honest, Keisha. You started being disrespectful. Resentment leads to disrespect. Disrespect leads to divorce." I would say yes, and because through counseling, I remember resentment. Once you and you can confirm this or dispute this, Doc. I've heard that, once resentment comes in a relationship,
Right.
that relationship is really over. I've heard
Not
this,
always.
Stated that way. Like if you walk through and you can just like, I can't, like that person, that person just brings up, you like, ugh, that type of feeling. Yeah, you're on your way to a divorce, I would think. Unless you can find a way to effectively communicate.
Right. But
I know,
and please let me address Doc, please. I was not disrespectful in any way, shape, or form. I mean, like, you can't speak on something you don't know anything about, first of all. And secondly, I wasn't disrespectful to him ever. You know what I mean? I even allowed the ugly mom to keep coming over to the house. You know what I'm saying? So like, if I wanted to be disrespectful, I had every opportunity to be disrespectful, but I did not. So thank you. I'm sorry, Toya. As you were saying, sweetheart.
I was gonna say part of effective communication is looking for change behavior. I'm not gonna keep telling you do this, do this, do this. Now I do think you have to repeat it a couple of times because making change is difficult, and so somebody's not gonna change the first time you say it. Cool, but I don't think that repeated disrespect that ain't it.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be change behavior. I'm like banging my head against the wall for what?
I think Grace
Exactly.
Robbie says petty Patty. Mr. Gillian says, were you trying to spook? So you trying to spook the dude?
Yes.
My man Randy said, okay, match shirts. Right. Thank you for the notification on that and noticing. And then Robbie says, true. Alexa said, I think asking him why he didn't do something is setting yourself up to an excuse. So I think letting them know that they didn't do something that you asked and how it made you feel is good enough.
But then, like, Alexis, when you do tell them, you can't tell them, you can't call them a four-eyed, jack-leg fool, but, because that's what I was thinking about saying, but I never said it, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it was just best not to just even ask, just move on.
So I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that. I think I want to know why you didn't do something. And because I need to know, was my delivery off? Did I act like what happened? Where was the disconnect? I need to know what the barrier was so that we don't keep running up into the same thing. Now, if that person gives you an excuse, like that's a different situation, that's something else to handle. But I do think you need to know why they didn't do it. Like what happened here that I didn't get what I needed.
Yeah, and I think there's to addendum that, you have to kind of dig through. The key thing is always asking why. Start out like, well, why? And I think if you would, and in my opinion, for a man and the way that his mind works, and I'm saying a man, and I hope we don't have the time to go into defining the difference between boys and men, and then you got damaged, males out there, but a man. Okay. And so if you've done half a job of picking someone who has demonstrated to be reliable, at least in part, on major things. So when you have a disconnect in situations like this, I would say, ask him like, babe, I asked you to do that. Is there any reason why you couldn't get to it? Now I know you like, and we're all like, well, you're adults and it's simple. And I asked him, and it may be something that's simple, like, I forgot. Okay, can't have that happening. And so, but if it's a man and he's shown any type of level of care for you, and then on that says, well, babe, I really depend on you to help me with, to help me make sure things go well. Like this is going to really look bad on me. I don't want to be going out there to do that. And, so if I depend on you to take care of things like that. If you approach that man, I believe a man would respond if he have to write a note for his damn self. If he has to just change the game and say, well, let me hire somebody to make sure this joke the yard always looks right. or come up with some type of solution. That'll happen if it's communicated. And in my example, I would say would be more effective communication.
But why does it seem like we got the baby, y'all? You know what I mean? Into doing stuff. Like if it should be enough that I ask you to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't say, damn, you should get out there and cut that damn grass. You know, I didn't say it like that. I asked you, you know what I mean, to do one thing. Or, you know, or I shouldn't have to ask you to do it twice. I mean, not only does it reflect bad on me, it reflects bad on you. What if the fellas come over and see the grass standing up almost to my knees? Dang, dude, you ain't gonna cut the grass? Or they come by and they see me out there pushing the lawnmower. I mean, you should be more concerned about how you gonna look as opposed to, you know, me asking you or to do stuff or micromanaging you to do stuff. I don't get that.
I think that's where it comes in, like the difference of people, right? You know what I mean? I just think, no shade to this man because I don't know this man. Sorry to this man. I just think he wasn't really like the true definition of a man that you wanted or that you needed. But you shouldn't have to baby someone, especially your partner. You shouldn't have to baby them to get them to do anything. It should be enough that you just said, hey, babe, I need you to do this. All that, oh, you look nice today. You're really tall today. Can I get you the motor? Like that. Ain't nobody doing all that. You know this grass ugly. Come on, babe. We having a party. Let's do something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you can go out there and be like, you ugly and your mama ugly, cut the grass. Now, you can't do all that. But I don't think it has to be like, I love, king of my world, mow the grass. Like that, no.
And then even in the effective communication, I think is just keeping disrespect out of it or belittling out of the communication. So it may be, you may be reiterating that you asked, but in a way that's not belittling or disrespectful. And, you know, he may come with a response. What if he has a job that is demanding, he works 12 hours, that's physically demanding, and he was just tired and he couldn't get to it, something like that. Then you could have a conversation with like, babe, I'm depending on you to get those things done. You got any suggestions of something else that we can do to make sure that happens? And asking that question. And if he's a man, then he's going to think through that or make sure that it gets done in some way.
But if a fireman worked 12 hours on 4 days, they at least get 3 days off. So I mean, you're gonna at least have a day.
But we're not talking. But we're not. But that's hypothetical. So we're not. If he got a day off in 3 days, then of course there's even another problem there. But I'm just saying, if it's a man that works, 5-6 days a week, he has Sundays off or something like that. Now I think men that I know, we would figure that out. Either pay somebody to do it or just put that extra time in and get it done, despite your physical ailments. But I'm gonna read some of the comments. Doc says, and that resentment doesn't develop overnight. That is something that can build up over time, especially if effective communication is missing and we're not addressing these issues, and they can pile up like we mentioned before. Kendra Perry, hello, how you doing, Kendra?
Hey.
Joining the show. Sincerely. And then Alexa says, ugly mama, why Key? Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. She talked about the married mama. Doc says, likely if you don't communicate your disappointment, it will show up in your body language.
All the time.
Absolutely. Communication.
Every time.
I've heard communication is like 80% nonverbal. Most 93. Of the time. 90, well, there you go. Thank you for the data.
The last article I read, like it changes depending on the author of the article, but 93 was the last thing that I read.
Alexis kind of definitely co-signed on Doc. And then Letitia Nicole says the why is definitely important.
I think so.
Absolutely. I would agree with that. Alexis says if they didn't do it and wanted for you to ask them why they didn't do it, is the reason I'm not asking questions is the reason I'm not asking questions. Anything after that is an excuse, period.
I agree.
She not feeling us on the why. Sis said, "Don't ask why they ain't do it."
Okay, she think you just open them up for them to give an excuse.
Right. Is how that's what I
Right. And I agree with that.
She said if there is really a legit reason of why it didn't get done, then you wouldn't have to ask why it's not done. I get it. So if there was a real reason, then he would have communicated that, hey, I'm not going to be able to get that done, or I'm not going to do this because of ABC or XYZ. So she wouldn't have to ask why. But I think the takeaway on this is being an effective communicator. That's the key, is understanding that some things that are maybe common to you or may make sense to you, you still want to be effective in the way that you go at it about addressing it. Because we can't go in and just say, listen, you're a grown man, and you're supposed to be the head of this family, and I can't ask you to cut the grass, and I can't get that done. If there was a reason that it couldn't get done, you could have communicated that with me, and we could have figured something else out. Why wouldn't you do that? I just don't think that's going to go over well. And if you want to try to promote peace and get to solution within your relationship, then you will be a wise person would still approach it with, well, why didn't it? Because I think if, and you can confirm this for me, when people go to therapy, some things are obvious, but they'll still ask you why, so you yourself can take the mental journey of coming to solution. Because when you look at it, you got to go within to see, like, man, why didn't I get that done? And have them come to that. And I think even in relationships, you want to be able to introduce that type of communication, that type of opportunity for self-reflection, so you can get to a good place without, tearing up the whole relationship and the marriage and building resentment. Because any man that feels belittled or disrespected is going to begin to resent his woman or his wife.
I just think that if he wants to eliminate or alleviate some of that, he should have just mowed the grass.
Now that's that. I mean, I can't argue with that. I think that's Grace. Yeah, said it's word choice. Let us, we, Rita,
No.
help me out on that.
Keisha said no.
No.
Why you say no, Key?
Because, okay, I get what she's saying. I guess I could go behind you and rake up the grass or pick up the whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But okay, girl.
Yeah, Alexis says sorry to this man. Exactly, Doc.
Sorry to this man. Yeah.
And then Alexis says, honestly, you can address a person about something without calling them names. Say we not in junior high. That's true. That can happen. As we kind of unloading, so because Key seems to be like, listen, and I would say Doc is like, listen, I need to be able to straightforward tell you what the problem is.
Right.
You need to be able to understand it, process that, and make it happen.
Sure.
So would you say that happens? That's the way that it happens?
Not in my office, but that's how I would like for it to happen.
Excuse me. So if we're talking about women communicating more effectively, when you want to find some nuances, when you want to understand that, okay, if I use, as Robbie said, if the choice of words that I use can make an impact and a difference. And then here's the big question. Are you concerned about how, or are you concerned about the results that you receive?
I think it depends. I think that if I'm asking to get the grass cut, I'm concerned about getting the grass cut. I'm not concerned about your feelings and the how and the how sweet did I sound, how submissive was I when I asked my question. Like I don't care. Like cut the grass. You know what I mean?
But
so I think it's a situation.
If you're concerned about that and you want your man to be receptive, to maybe remember, to understand how important it is that when you do ask, that it impacts you in a certain way, why would you not want to develop the skills to effectively communicate that? And that may be a little bit of nuance and maneuvering and selecting the right words and approaching.
No. So I think all that nuance and selecting the right word and being all that's for difficult conversations. You save all that for difficult conversations. If I'm asking you to do an act of service, I'm asking you to cut the grass, I'm asking you to put the toilet seat down, I'm asking you to, we don't have to have all that. All that other choosing your right words, choosing this, approaching it this way, we save that for the difficult conversations. The conversations about finances, the conversations about in-laws, those types of sensitive subjects. If I'm asking you to do a task, I'm asking you to do a task. We're together. Why do I have to jump through hoops to get you to do a task?
No, that you know what, and that's a good point. So let's do this. Let's move away from task-related conversation. Let's say you are okay. I'm gonna get in your backyard because this was my yard.
Okay.
Let's say you got stepchildren. Stepchildren are disrespectful, or they don't listen as keenly, or you feel like they don't. It's everything is not across the board in the way that they're being handled. And you want to communicate that with your mate. And let's say it's your man, and these are your stepsons, and they seem to get away with a lot more. They don't pull their weight, or they're not conducting themselves in a proper way. How are you going to have that conversation with your man? Because then I think from what you just described, I think that's a more delicate conversation. That's something that could really tear up a relationship. Now you love this,
absolutely.
You love this man. He's not a bad man, but you need to have a conversation with him about his children that are not from you. So would you say that that's an effective area, or where you would have to know the nuance? And it doesn't have to be that. It could be something with his mother or his side of the family. You know, those things get really, really sensitive.
They do.
So I think, communicating with the man in a more, I would say, informed way. I would say an example would be, instead of telling him, man, your sons is lazy. They don't do nothing they told to do. You don't even do anything about it. You just let them do whatever.
Well, I don't think you should say it like that, because people get sensitive about their children, and I would never want anybody to say anything like that to me about my children, because it's not going to go well, right? I think that you start the conversation a little bit differently. I think you say, hey, what's the expectation for the children in this house?
Okay, good. There you go. Okay, that's a great question.
Because then he can say, oh, there are no expectations. And then I can say, oh, well, hold on. Let's reel that in, because that's not going to work for me. They got to do something. And it can be a dialogue. It can be a conversation. But then if he says, like, well, the expectation is that they do 1, 2, 3. Do they know that's an expectation? Maybe we should communicate that with them.
Right.
Communicate that with them. Then when they don't do it, you've already said something to them. Them your children, handle them. It's nothing for me to do.
That was good. People need to pull out a notepad on that one. I got a free session. A free session on that one. That's good. What are your feelings on that, Key?
Well, I would leave it up to him to handle his kids. Because I mean, I would handle them myself. Not in a bad way, but like, if they don't do what's already been, set out, this is what's your expectation. I don't need him to say anything. I will go to them myself and say, Shay, you didn't sweep the floor. You might have wiped off the countertop, but you didn't sweep the floor or wipe the oven off. You mind telling me why? And then if she don't, whatever she got to say, you can just hit it with that rock. It doesn't matter what you say. You know what I'm saying? Like, just cut off right when she's saying that, just tell her get in there and go clean that kitchen up. I mean, a lot of times these step parents are afraid of these kids. No, you got to be able to go in there and just tell them, like, baby, look, you didn't do this. I'm gonna need you to go in there and take care of this. Period.
Yeah.
That's just how
I just don't think it's that cut and dry, because I think that I don't think it's that cut and dry. I don't think the step parent is afraid. I think they're treading lightly because these aren't their children. Nobody wants to be the evil step parent. Nobody wants to be misunderstood. Everybody wants to be on the same page. And so the reason I would say, like, what's the expectation? Let's tell the children the expectations together, because then when you see them not doing something, you're going to handle it because you set that expectation. Now, if I'm at home
Not
with them
always.
by myself and they didn't do it, I don't live in a house where we gotta wait till your daddy come home. This is my house. We ain't doing that. So if I'm at home with them by
Yeah,
myself,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm with you. I'm gonna address it then. But I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I would like for their parent in this situation, please be advised, this is not my family situation, but in this situation, I would like for the man to address, especially we talking about sons, like, tell your boys what to do. So that they know, so that when I say you didn't sweep the floor, you didn't do blah blah blah, there's less room for back and forth.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know, because I know a lot of people that won't say nothing. The parents still won't say nothing to the kid.
Oh.
And the kid would just have, and the kid can just say and do whatever they want to the step parent.
Oh no.
How many you can, whether I'm here or not, you should be able to handle that. Because I know, like, when I was dealing with this one person, like, if my girls got out of hand or whatever, and he would look at me, hey, tell them what they need to do. You know what I mean? Don't always look for me to be there to solve problems all the time. Whether I'm here or what like you said, what if I'm not here? And then they say something slick. You just gonna sit there and stoop until I get back? No, handle it. Let them know the expectations. They understand these expectations. If they don't do it, then they know they got to deal with me when they get home. But then, like I said, but you have to look at it on the flip side as well. I mean, you know, like you said, it's not your family situation, but sometimes the kids disrespect the step parents, and the mother or the father is sitting right there and watching.
Oh, we got to break up.
That's a problem.
Yeah, we got to break up.
That's a problem and a half.
Yeah, that ain't. We ain't in no relationship.
That's a whole problem.
Right, that's a problem.
Yeah,
definitely wasn't no effective communication going on beforehand. If we can get to that point, we'll take a moment. Let's take a look at some of the comments. The lifestylist. Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
You see, and then Alexa says, regardless, we're not going to talk
tonight.
We're not going to like the answer. She said, you can tell me why it's not done, but don't matter the reasoning you give me. It's still not cutting that grass, though.
She ain't with it.
She's not going for nothing else other than cut the grass.
Exactly.
Hello, Mika. How you doing? She said, exactly, Doc. Of course. She said, I'll come correct when I ask things, but sir, get the task done. Absolutely. Especially, and I'll say this on those comments because we kind of went in another direction, but definitely we identify, like, on task related issues. Yeah, it's not going to be a lot of other ways that you can. I mean, I still think it's effective communication. As Robbie said, word choice, maybe body language, the way that you present it. But only thing you can do is present like I asked you to do something and get done. And as far as you can do is say, why didn't you? And then, as Alexis has clearly made pointed, nothing that you say is going to work. Oh, I'm sorry. Alexa says, hey, Miss Lifestylist. Your lifestylist says, hey. Fedora says, hey, hello, how you doing?
Hey, Fedora.
And then your lifestylist says, maybe ask open-ended questions so that your spouse can think about it instead of just responding to you. It's more engaging. You know what? I'll add on to that because, the topic is women communicating with men. That lends into another aspect that I think is important, just the way that men are wired. So if you ask a man something or his opinion on something, let's get away from tasks. This is not a task. This is asking him something on his opinion or ask him about something. Definitely give him a moment to process. like men take a moment to think. Typically, we always know there's outliers in every scenario. Not everybody is, we can't speak in a monolith, but for the majority, a man is going, is going to think through his answer a little bit. So just be mindful, I would say, if effective communication is allowing him that space to think through the answer so that he can think before he gives you an answer and understand that that's just a part of it.
I agree. I think that goes both ways, though. I think that comes down to like knowing the person you're in a relationship with.
Right.
Sometimes some people are like rapid fire conversationalists, right?
Mhm.
Like tit for tat, they go. And then I think some people are, they need to take a minute, they need to process. And so that just comes from like knowing who you're with.
Now I've heard in this topic and in that discussion before, in another time, like, nah, they just thinking of a lie or thinking of something or if they're asked something, so to speak, on like why they may have done something or something like that. But I think in the most part, it's just the processing that men typically do when they think through before they answer.
Well, I think that comes from like paying attention before you have hard conversations. Do they pause when you ask them something else that's not related to like something that they would need to lie about? If the very first time they start to pause, it's like, where was you at last night or something crucial like that, then maybe they are lying. But I think you would have picked up on that if you were paying attention.
Gotcha. Hey, CJ Boy says, what's going on? Oh, okay. He said, what's going on, my black queens and kings?
Hey.
What's going on, good man?
Hey, CJ.
Yeah, so I think and like you just mentioned, you made a point between like what type of questions you're asking and then understanding who the person is. Because if they normally are quick, I guess, man, that's some type of secret I guess women have. That he usually answers very quickly, but now I ask him this type of question and now you want to think something else is going on. Okay, yeah. I might open up Pandora's box on that one.
Now all they gotta do is listen to Cardi B. She said you stutter after certain sentences. She tell all the secrets.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny.
Stutter after certain. I mean, at least work on your lie. Keep the lie alive. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were doing something you had no business, just already have it already prepared by the time you come in there because you know the question is coming.
Well, women too. Y'all tend to be better at that anyway.
We tend to be better at what? Lying?
Wow.
Women don't lie, but if we did, it was because we're smarter. If we were better,
you better say that again, sis. Tell them again. We don't lie.
Women don't lie.
Women are prolific liars.
You watch your mouth. You just saying it because it's close to quitting time, but that's not true, sir.
Prolific. Y'all are the best at it. Y'all cheat better. All of those things y'all do on an exponential level. It's immeasurable.
Yeah, I mean, but we don't cheat either.
Right. We've already established that. That's a fact.
Oh, he says, and CJ says, "Yer" is an NYC slang for what's going on. Oh, man, I had no idea.
Okay.
I'm a Texas cat for real. Okay. Mr. Gilligan says women lie, men lie. That's exactly how you make that.
Why he had to start off with women lie? We don't lie.
Because why he do that?
Because women, they do that. Trickery.
No, CJ, get off. No. CJ, go get bed. Go get bed.
CJ said women lie all the damn time.
That's not true.
It was capital. Randy says a great discussion tonight. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Randy.
Your lifestyle says women are just better at being better. Okay.
There you go.
Better at being better.
Hey, y'all, did y'all see our friend Mr. Root tonight? Was he on there tonight?
He wasn't, and I was looking for him for you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's it.
100 black, 100 grand.
Mm-hmm. Or 100 black.
Yeah, he wasn't on there.
Well, it sounds like my daughter said you spoke of the don'ts when communicating with men. What are the do's?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
What's the do's, E?
Yeah, what's the
Well,
dudes there?
what's the do's? I think they were implied in what we discussed. So what I would say, I think it's like, so if you don't want to tell them that the do's are, this is what I would describe as a do. I said, man, you always want to speak in a manner of edification. Come with a why. Allow him to respond. Speak with the open, not with a I'm gonna tell you, but with a question, I would say, to try to capsulate this, because we're at our time. I know we'll go over a little bit, but if I would say a main do is, man, just approach him and ask him and communicate in a level of respect. So, and I'll say this, it will be described as my sister Kilolo said, why do we have to baby you? I don't think it's babying. I don't think giving.
I think it's how you describing it. It do kind of sound like babying. Like, I think the do is just be respectful. Don't be naggy. Like, just leave it at that. I think when you keep going and going, it sounds like, oh, why we just can't talk.
No, you encapsulated it. Say that again. Don't do what?
Be respectful and don't be naggy.
All right, there we go. Those are the do's. Mr.
Okay.
Gillian said they cheat too. They sure do.
Excuse me, sir.
No, sir. None of that.
CJ say women cheat. Yeah, that's true. CJ came with you on that one. Say, because y'all be lying. They go hand in hand. You know what they say? If they lie, they're cheating. They cheat, they're steal. If they steal, they're kill. It's just a line. It goes that way. Letitia Nicole,
all discussed about
people lie. Okay.
Who said
that?
Letitia Nicole says people.
Her earrings are bomb on her picture. I like them earrings.
The things y'all notice. Your lifestylist came through with one. She tried to shut the whole program down. She said, okay, liars lie.
That's it.
Covered the whole.
I ain't no lie, honey.
What you gonna say to that? What you ain't got no rebuttal on that one. Letitia Nicole says, even better liars lie. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they shut it down on us right there. I would say the takeaways on the effective communication, women to men. I think Doc encapsulated it probably perfectly. So I couldn't think of a better way, because the way that I wanted to explain it, they take it as babying. Yeah. And I'm just saying, be mindful of a man, his mind, his position, and show some respect, and then don't complain. Is that what we said?
I said don't nag.
Don't nag.
Don't complain.
Yeah, because nagging will definitely shut a man down, and at that point, he won't hear anything that you're saying. So I'll tell you this, since we have a little time, Doc, when you say don't nag, but if there's something you want to convey as a woman, and a therapist, what would be an effective way to convey something so it doesn't come across as nagging?
You just say it and watch your tone. That's it. You just say it.
Say it and don't watch and watch your
tone. Yeah.
Okay. Any rebuttals on that? Any feelings on that? And we got a great audience. They ain't giving no feedback on that one, huh?
Well, do what we asked you to do the first time, and we won't have to watch our tones.
That part.
Yeah, and when the man say, "Watch how you talk to me," if you can do that on the first time, that'll help things too.
That's why I said, watch your tone.
Yeah. So, cheat is cheat. Why does it need a sex? Can't argue with that.
I beg your pardon. Who said that?
Yes, thank you. No, I think this is a pretty thought-provoking. I definitely am going to have some things to think about a little bit more and kind of process on some of the answers, some of the things that have been shared by the group. We all have a very informed, knowledgeable group that joins us each week. So we really appreciate you being here. Definitely want to see you next week. I'll let my co-hosts kind of wrap up if they have any final words on that.
Thank you all for being here. Come back next week.
Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
All right. Well, thank y'all for joining us on The Perspective. We'll see you next Thursday at 8:30. Until then, man, be honest, stay balanced, and keep it real. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.